Welcome to my 800-year-old Cotswolds farmhouse. It's time for the big 3-day-long extreme spring clean, and I'm happy that you're here to join me. If you would like to do your spring cleaning along with me, there's a QR code on the screen here that you can scan to download my spring cleaning checklist. We're starting off in the kitchen. I've got an old 𝑭𝒂𝒕 that we inherited with the house, so I'm turning that off before we get started. Now, I like to ensure that we get some beautiful fresh air in the house, so I'm heading upstairs to open the windows. I just adore these Georgian sash windows. They're single glazed, which means we get beautiful light in the house, but boy oh boy, does it get chilly in winter. Now, I love multitasking, so I'm bringing up my laundry basket and popping in any towels and any linen that needs to go in the wash, and that can be cleaning away while I get on with today's tasks. When it comes to my face cloths and my flannels, I keep these separately in a little bag to the side of the sink, and my little reusable face discs that I use every day to take off my makeup, they can tend to get a little bit stuck in the washing machine, so I pop them all in a bag. Don't worry, we're going to declutter the sink area later on today. This little bag means that they all stay together and they can go in the tumble dryer too. As well as the towels in our bedroom, I'm also popping into the spare bedroom where we have a big hamper full of other towels that I save up until cleaning day. Okay, let's take them downstairs and get them in the washing machine. I didn't realise that my husband had already done a wash this morning, so I need to take that out first. This can go on the line outside as it's such a beautiful day. I always forget a sock. Does anyone else do that? Okay, popping the towels into the machine, and these will go on the machine's eco setting, and it kind of weighs what's inside and decides the time by itself. It's very clever, this machine. I love that it's got the drawers where you add in your laundry liquid. I love this one from 𝑭𝒆𝒏𝒅. And then based on how dirty your load is, it will add in as much or as little laundry liquid as you need. This one is lavender scented. I'm starting to experiment with DIY cleaning products, but I've never tried DIY laundry detergent. So if anyone has had success with that, please let me know down below. I've also got the matching 𝑭𝒆𝒏𝒅 lavender fabric conditioner, and also on this machine you can choose how much of each you want. As they're white, I'm adding in a scoop of the 𝑭𝒆𝒏𝒅 laundry bleach just to help them stay as white as possible. So notice how it says 1 hour and 6 minutes there. This load actually took around 3 hours. So with the help of my little sausage dogs, I've taken my wire rack outside. We don't have a proper line, but to be honest, on a day as breezy as this, I don't know if it would be much good. I think everything would just fall on the ground. So I'm popping everything out onto the wire dryer, and in this lovely sunshine, it won't be too long until it's dry. Back inside, opening the windows of our utility room, and I need an iced coffee to power me through the next stage, which is the kitchen. This is my new Ninja Luxe Cafe coffee machine, which I am obsessed with. As a coffee snob, I love that it's bean to cup, and it does all of the different fancy settings for me. I'm making a double espresso over ice to start with, and then I will add my favourite Oatly barista oat milk into the jug, and then that will whiz up. As I've got it on the cold foam setting, it's not going to make my coffee hot, and it's perfectly foamed for an iced oat milk latte. Absolutely scrumptious. Okay, we are starting, yes, we're only really just starting, down here in the kitchen. I said to Charlie, don't worry about the washing up today, I will sort it. So first of all, I like to give everything a rinse, scrape down, then a rinse in the sink, and fill up the dishwasher. We use a lot of wooden chopping boards, so you really have to give these a good scrub, and you obviously can't put them in the dishwasher, so a good antibacterial spray is very useful. Those are the little plastic tops you get on jars. I pop them underneath my chopping boards to stop them from sliding around. Now, let me know how you do it, but in this house we've got quite a routine in the dishwasher. The knives at the back, then the forks, then the big spoons, and then the little spoons. We also put the coffee cups on the left, and the glasses and miscellaneous on the right. My husband has OCD, so it's very important that we stick to this. Popping the plates down at the bottom, and this is the perfect opportunity to actually clean those plates that we don't use very often. We've got this beautiful area where the 𝑭𝒂𝒕 is in the kitchen, but as we don't have a proper extractor fan, these plates can just get a little bit greasy and dusty, which is not nice, except for these four in fact, that we use most often. These ones are always spotless, but these ones at the back that don't get used as often, as it's just the two of us that live here, they can get a bit grubby. So I'm using this as an opportunity to give them a deep clean, as well as the bowls that sit behind the 𝑭𝒂𝒕. And I'm popping this on a fast setting because I need to get through things today. Alrighty, I had half a lime left over from lunch. I'm popping that in a metal bowl with some warm water, and that is going inside my oven. Lime, just like lemon, citrusy, means it's really good at cutting through grease. So as this water heats up and steams, it's going to start to cut through the greasy layers inside my oven. I've lit the 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅 herb garden candle, which smells heavenly, and it's lovely to have on in the background while I'm doing the hand washing up. Our always pans, our wooden chopping boards, and everything else. I'm trying to get the surfaces as clear as possible, ready to start the deep clean. We have a store cupboard where we put things like spices and dukkahs, so I'm just sorting that out, closing that up before tackling the kitchen surfaces. So this is the first cleanse. I double cleanse my face, I double cleanse my kitchen counter. This is just a multi-purpose spray. I think this one was from 𝑭𝒂𝒕. It's the one that we use every day pretty much for our quick evening clean. I wipe the surfaces of the kitchen counter probably 5 times a day, and always before bed, so the kitchen is spotless when we come down in the mornings. So this is just cleanse 1 for today. You'll see I'm going to probably triple cleanse my kitchen worktops throughout the spring clean. Something that I like to do every couple of weeks is to take any of the houseplants that live inside outside so that they can get some real sunshine and just give them a little boost with their photosynthesis. We've got quite a lot of plants in our downstairs, from beautiful potted geraniums to herbs, rosemary, mint, etc. in the kitchen. A quick coffee break, and now it's time to declutter the kitchen worktops. This is a teapot of old mint tea that I'd had lying around for goodness knows how long, and these little saucers that go underneath the houseplants that catch any drips from when we overwater them. I'm giving all of these things a really good scrub, just with some, actually we use the 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅 liquid or washing up liquid and warm water. Now, I've popped the plug into the sink, and I'm also boiling up a kettle. Normally we use a kettle on the 𝑭𝒂𝒕, but the 𝑭𝒂𝒕's switched off. And I don't know if you spotted just then, but I added in a few drops of lemon and also geranium essential oil. It just makes your kitchen smell amazing, and it's great to have as a base for when you want to have a nice wet dishcloth. Next, I'm decluttering the area behind our 𝑭𝒂𝒕. This is where we also have on the left there a flat induction cooker. So it's somewhere which does need a deep, deep clean. I'm also removing everything because I need to vacuum our walls. Yes, this beam is probably around 600-700 years old. These walls, I don't even know, but let me tell you, you've never known a wall to be as dusty as this wall. So I'm using our plug-in Dyson to vacuum up the cobwebs. Oh gosh, it gives me nightmares, honestly. There are so many cobwebs on this wall, and this is not a job that I do every week. So it's something that takes place during the deep spring clean. Behind the cupboards, inside these little grooves where the plates go, I use the brush attachment to really get in there on the wooden beams, and also this brush attachment is great for on the stone above the 𝑭𝒂 too. Ooh, there were so many cobwebs in that big crack in the wooden beam, my goodness. And the final step for the wall, does anyone else clean their walls, is to feather dust, and so much just kind of fell off onto the surfaces, so I'm really glad I cleared them. Now I've got Dexy's bed here. The dog beds need a really good shake out. I could potentially have put these in the washing machine. Dexy's making himself at home again. My precious boy, I'm sorry baby, I have to move you to give your bed a really good shake out. Gosh, it was so dusty. Oh, look at all that fluff coming off. I actually left it out here to aerate, and Dexy made himself at home in it once again. I'd love to know how you guys clean your dog beds, because it's just covered in fluff all the time. Now, this spray that I'm using here is actually a DIY. It is water, white vinegar, and lemon essential oil. The lemon, as I mentioned, great for cutting through grease, and all you really need is water and vinegar, and it is such a versatile spray. You'll see me using this spray a lot throughout this video. The 𝑭𝒂 is now cool, which is great. Last night I actually tested a trick that didn't work that well, I'm not going to lie, where you pop some ice cubes on your 𝑭𝒂 lid, and then you put the lid down, and that's meant to, the steam from that is meant to loosen up any grease before you start your spring clean. I don't know that it did too much, but here I am with a cloth, and I'm just using my all-purpose vinegar spray to really give it a good clean. I will say that we actually had a professional 𝑭𝒂 cleaner come to the house just after Christmas, which is the most intense time of use for the 𝑭𝒂, and he did an amazing job at cleaning it. So this is just a kind of top up. I'm using a cloth and the all-purpose spray to clean the pipes at the back, which I think is actually for show, this one, so it doesn't go anywhere. Ooh, look at the colour of the water just from doing those worktops and the 𝑭𝒂. So a fresh sink, a fresh cloth, and I'm giving the 𝑭𝒂 lids a little bit of a buff up, which is great to get it looking lovely and shiny again. Now my first dishwasher load has finished, so now that this area is lovely and clean, I'm popping back my bowls. The plates, they all face inwards towards the 𝑭𝒂, and nice and clean, grease-free, dust-free, so they're all getting put back in their rightful place too. Next, I want to make sure that everything that I'm putting back on the countertop next to the 𝑭𝒂 is perfectly clean. So I'm misting everything with my all-purpose spray. Something that we should probably do more often, but I just don't. These are our lovely salt and pepper grinders, and then this gorgeous olive oil dispenser, which we get asked about a lot. I'll try and find something and leave it linked down below. Little salt, I think they're called a salt pig, which is really cute. And then my spoons go at the back as well. My rosemary's had enough sunshine for today, so that's coming back into position as well. I'm giving our little wooden kettle rest a quick spritz as well, and I could not believe how dusty the kettle was. Oh my goodness, it really was filthy. Then giving my pots and pans a little once over with the spray, and anything that was previously hanging on the walls, and popping it back now that it's perfectly clean. Okay, now that this area is done, It's time to put the 𝑭𝒂𝒕 back on a momentous or monumentous occasion, and we've got these lovely spring 𝑭𝒂𝒕 covers, 𝑭𝒂𝒕 lid covers, which I've popped back on. Alrighty, the essential oil mixture has been steaming away in the oven, but I'm going to leave it that little bit longer while I tackle the light. The light in the kitchen gets so greasy, but this all-purpose spray that I made, and again, I will leave a link down below to how you can make this spray. It's just water, vinegar and the essential oils. It's fantastic for glass and mirrored surfaces because it cuts through all the grease, really cleans, and it doesn't leave any smudges. I am using an ever so slightly damp cloth and then a dry microfiber cloth to buff up the glass. So here I've got some bicarb soda and some water, which I'm mixing into a paste. And this is a little bit corrosive, so it's fantastic at nibbling away those stubborn, hard to remove bits of grease and grossness on the oven. Thanks to the fact that my bowl of water with the lime juice in it was steaming away for the last probably hour or so, a lot of the grease in the oven actually comes away really easily. For any slightly more stubborn stains, this bicarb soda mixture is absolutely brilliant. I use a mixture of cloths and brushes, and this is quite a stiff, wide brush, but it really gets everything away. You want to make sure you use plenty of water with a sponge to clean the oven through afterwards, ideally not leaving too much bicarb soda. I'm taking out the tray and I'm going to give that a wash by hand. So I'm really focusing the bicarbonate of soda on the internal grates and giving it a little bit of elbow grease with a sponge as well to get all of those greasy marks off. Finally, 3 hours later, I kid you not, my load of towels are done. That's an elegant pose, Josie. And it's in with the next lot. I find if I overfill my washing machine, they just don't wash. So here we go again. And this lot are going into the tumble dryer. I don't like to use drying sheets or anything like that because I've not found any that aren't super chemically. I'm trying to be a little bit more conscious as to what I'm inhaling. So they just go in by themselves, and as long as I keep my dryer clean, then they smell lovely. Folding up a few towels that were in the machine from earlier. These are the ones we use in the gym. And it's back to polishing off the oven with a microfiber cloth. And of course, making sure that the screen, gosh, you can really see the fingerprints marks, is nice and clean. And I even had to use a vacuum to get rid of the crumbs that had fallen to the bottom. The wire rack had been soaking for a good hour, I would say, at this stage, but I thought I would give it one more zap by popping it in the dishwasher, which had just finished for the second time today, so I'm popping everything back where it belongs. So now it's time for me to give my worktops is this the second or the third cleanse of the day? I'm forgetting. But this time with the worktops completely clear, I'm giving it a really good once over with our multi-surface spray. And something that I like to do is actually to crouch down and ensure the surfaces are kind of at eye level. And by doing this, it means that I can see really clearly if there are any crumbs or anything on the worktops. It sounds silly and you feel silly doing it, but you really get to see everything. Then I'm popping everything back on the worktops, and once again I've given everything a clean over with my all-purpose spray before popping them back on the worktop. Next, I'm taking my all-purpose spray and giving a real once-over to not only the fronts of the cabinets and the front of the sink, but also to the handles. Can't tell you how many times I've grabbed the handle for the bin and I might have had some egg or something on my hands, so Really important to do this. We don't have children, but I can imagine that little sticky fingers often get all over your handles. Next, I like to do this, well, I do this every single week, but flower maintenance of my fresh flowers. This is lemongrass essential oil, and I'm popping a few drops in the water of this beautiful display. And now I'm just picking out any blooms which don't look too happy, are a little bit old, and snipping the ends of my roses so that they're on a slant to pick up more water. And I'm essentially turning 4 displays into 3 because these flowers are all about a week old, so they just need a little bit of freshening up. Taking everything off this round table, which is the one that we use for eating our breakfast, lunch and dinner, so it needs a really good spray, but I very, very rarely actually take everything off to give it a thorough once over. So now that all of the cleaning and dusting and decrumbing is done in the kitchen, it's time to vacuum the floors. I take bits of furniture that are in my way out of the way, shoes outside, chairs out from under the table, so I can really get into all the nooks and crannies. I vacuum with this maybe once every couple of weeks, which I know sounds crazy, but we've also got the wireless Dysons, which I use multiple times a day. This is where my little sausage dog, Chick, Dickens, he scratches on the door when he wants to be let in or out. I was really confused at that point why it wasn't coming off, and I realised it was on the other side, so that was a mark from him asking to let outside. And this all-purpose spray, the one that I mentioned earlier, again is perfect for cleaning the glass. I use it for everything. I find myself making up a batch of it at least once a week. Next, onto this unit here, taking everything off, and I've actually added a few drops of olive oil into my all-purpose homemade spray, and that helps to nourish the wood. I know it's quite random, but it works. Adding everything back in. This terracotta pot was so dusty. Everything's been given a little clean, and popping it back into situ. Switching over the reeds in my diffuser. Nice double chin I've got from that angle. And popping everything back. I love having these potted flowers in the house. This is a geranium, hasn't come into bloom yet, but it's still lovely. The dog bed is back in. It won't be long until one of my boys makes himself at home. And then I like to leave this towards the end, cleaning the sink, because obviously I use it for cleaning my cloths throughout the process. And I'm just using my all-purpose spray, of course, and a good flannelled cloth to give the sink area a real final clean. Has it been a tough day, Dexy? Guys, comment down below how long you think all of that in the kitchen took me. I think you'd be surprised. Let me know down below how long you think this has taken. And no cheating by looking at the clock. I'm taking the bins out, and then I'm using, you guessed it, the all-purpose spray to clean the bins, and I use a paper towel here. I try not to use them too often because I think it's a bit wasteful, but when you're cleaning bins and toilets, I think single use is a necessity. Finally, my washing outside is dry. I'm taking everything off the dryer and popping it into one of my baskets, ready for ironing. That is a job for another day, because I can't imagine anything worse than standing inside ironing when it's so lovely and sunny. Alrighty, my load of towels, the first lot, are finished in the tumble dryer, and I'm taking out the fluff from the filter area and getting the next load set off. We'll clean the tumble dryer another day. It's day 2, time for another coffee and a fabulous hairstyle. When it comes to multitasking, one of my favourite things to do is to have heatless curls in, and I am whipping up another DIY concoction, this time bicarb of soda with water and white vinegar. I've got an Amazon storefront page, which I'll link down below, which will take you to all of these things. I do buy most of them on Amazon. This glass green bottle is perfect for using in the bathroom because the bicarb of soda and the vinegar together, they have a real kind of fizzy corrosive action, which is fantastic for the bathroom, which is what we're going to tackle today. And then I've got one spritzer with just vinegar in it. I actually made a veggie stock last night, so I'm getting that out of the Aga, and the whole house smells amazing, but that's just a little side task. Okay, this is our cleaning cupboard. We've got a lot of products in here, but to be honest, I mostly now just use my DIY ones, so I could probably massively minimize what I have in this cupboard. Into the bathroom, and I really don't want to spend too much more than an hour in this room. So I've actually set a timer on my phone, opening up the windows, same as yesterday in the kitchen, just to get some fresh air in. And I'm starting by decluttering the sinks. Popping on my gloves because yesterday, gosh, my hands were so dry after all that cleaning. And I'm popping a little bit more water in, but this is the bicarb and vinegar spray. And I leave that on the sink for a few minutes. And then also I create a little bit of a cocktail by adding the 𝑭𝒂𝒕 bathroom spray, and it's just fantastic for creating a beautiful smell, cutting through any grime. You can see here there was a little toothpaste mark, so I just sprayed it directly with a little bit more of my mixture, and with a little bit of elbow grease and a sponge, everything came off nice and easily. Now I'm polishing the silver and the legs underneath the sink. I'm using the 𝑭𝒂𝒕 spray here. I think this one is lemongrass and geranium possibly. It smells so good. I'm polishing all the bits that I'm putting back on the sink as well, even the soap and the lotions, and then moving on to my husband's sink. Would you believe it was actually even cleaner than mine? Okay, I'm using the all-purpose spray that I mentioned yesterday in the kitchen. Of course, for the mirrors, leaves them perfectly streak-free and nice and clean. And then very carefully, I'm also even taking the glass off the lights, giving that a clean, cleaning the light bulbs. I could not believe how grubby the light bulbs were. And then now that spray is dry on the mirror, I'm going back with a microfiber cloth just to ensure it's completely streak-free. I even used my cloth to clean between the radiators. Lots of streaks and kind of soap scum on the shower, and you guessed it, my all-purpose spray is just what I needed. I'm spraying the actual shower itself, giving everything a wipe down with a slightly damp cloth, and then if there are still a few streaks, you can actually go back with a dry microfiber cloth as well. I bought a big pack of both kinds of cloth from Amazon. It'll be in the storefront, and I'd probably go through about 10 each cleaning day. Spritzing the actual shower head and doing this regularly helps to get rid of lime scale, which is fantastic, and I'm also cleaning the silver on top of the shower as well. All these little areas that you don't normally do on a daily or weekly clean. Okay, if you're squeamish, look away now, because this is kind of gross. I poured the remainder of my bicarb and vinegar mixture down the filter in the shower. It was gross. I've got long hair and it does tend to build up down here. I used a brush to give it a real scrub. I mean, look at that colour. I have been using a coffee scrub too, my DIY coffee scrub, so that might be partially to blame. I'm removing the next layer, getting rid of my hairs from this filter. I would never ask Charlie to do this job, or anybody else, because it's all my hair. Giving that a real clean down with some toilet roll. Again, single use is required for a job like this. And then I'm flushing those bits down at the toilet. It was horrible, not a fun job. And then giving the filter a spritz over with my all-purpose spray and giving it a little bit of a brush down until it's spotless. A quick rinse. You can see the drain is not completely clear of marks, but it's nice and clean now. Okay, you cannot clean the bathroom without cleaning the loo, and while I am on the lookout for a more natural solution, I do still use regular bleach, so that goes in the loo first, and then I use my all-purpose spray, very importantly with a different cloth. I have a black or very dark grey cloth that is reserved purely for the toilet, because I really don't like the idea of that cloth then being used on the kitchen surfaces. So the dark coloured cloth with, of course, my all-purpose spray is perfect for getting it nice and clean in the actual toilet, giving it a real good wipe down. I have to say, Charlie and I are pretty clean people, so it's never a horrible job. None of these bits are if you stay on top of it and do things regularly. It's not too bad when you do a deep clean. These 𝑭𝒂𝒕 essential oil, I think they're called like 𝑭𝒂𝒂𝒕 or something. They're essential oil drops, and you pop them in your toilet, and also I put them in the shower drain, as you just saw. Make your bathroom smell amazing. So I checked my timer, 5 minutes to go, and I'd used my all-purpose spray to clean the walls, the stove in the bathroom, the bathtub, even the picture frames, and give everything a once-over. I could have spent even longer in the bathroom, but I think an hour in here is more than enough. Once again, taking off the light fittings and giving them a clean, wiping down the walls, wiping on top of the stove. I found that the candles had left little ash marks on the sides of the walls as well. Sometimes we have romantic baths and light some candles, but yeah, they'd actually marked the wall, but I did manage to get it off with my all-purpose spray. Give the light switch a clean, give the towel rail a clean, and also don't forget the baseboards that run along the floor as well, because often it's a good idea to give them a little wipe down, because they often collect little splashes. Last but not least, the bathtub. I give the actual rack that goes in the middle a clean down, and then use a damp cloth with my all-purpose spray and some water just to give everything a wipe. As I said, because we do this quite regularly, it's not a big job. It's day 3. Ooh, a lovely bird song. Day 3 of my spring cleaning, and I'm doing the pantry boot room. As I went to clean the washing machine, I realised that even the drawer where the detergents go was really grubby. You guessed it, I used my all-purpose spray to give it a little mist over, and a brush to get all of that grime away. This felt very satisfying, because it really was quite gross to begin with. And it's ironic because this is where you clean your clothes, so it should be nice and clean. I've popped some white vinegar in the detergent drawer, another fabulous hairstyle, and I'm going to set it off on a hot wash. But first I'm misting the inside of the drum with my all-purpose vinegary spray, the door as well, making sure that's nice and clean, and just making sure that I get in between all the plastic kind of folds. That's where so many hairs and things start to build up. Making sure that the dials are all clean. And I did use a single-use cloth here as well, because this can be quite a grubby area. So now I'm adding some bicarbonate of soda into the drum of the washing machine and setting it off on a 90-degree cycle. I'm taking away the softener and upping the detergent so that I get a lot of that white vinegar going through. Now onto the tumble dryer. Time to give that a deep clean. There's nothing in it today. So I'm taking out the filter and of course emptying it, and then I'm actually going to clean this just with some hand soap or fairy liquid would be absolutely fine. I thought I'd use a sponge, but then I decided that a brush was actually a little bit more effective, and just made sure that it was completely spotless. Then I used my all-purpose spray inside the tumble dryer, using a brush to scrub the fixtures, taking out the inside of the filter as well to make sure that that's completely clean, and I'm also going to give this a wipe down using my washing up liquid as well. So these were my final tasks for my spring clean. You might be thinking, Josie, you haven't been in the living room or the bedroom. Honestly, I'm going to save that for another week because this has been exhausting. And if you wondered how long I spent on the kitchen that first day, it was 7 hours. 7 hours of cleaning the kitchen. So I'm just doing the finishing touches here, but I hope you enjoyed doing the spring cleaning with me in my very, very old house here in the Cotswolds. If you've been spring cleaning along, I hope you have had a successful spring clean. Do subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.